What is inflation doing when you have real estate? Is it good to take a loan, to take mortgage, and to buy real estate in these times of inflation and recession? We'll learn to know more in this week's session with our real estate expert, Sarah Lindner.
Hello.
Hello and ka-ching! This is Bernie with our partner, with our real estate expert, Sarah Lindner. Sarah, welcome. And I'm glad to have you here today again. And we are today talking about a very interesting topic tell us what it is, please.
Yes, the topic is inflation, and I show you a little picture. What means inflation? Inflation means that prices are rising and rising. And as you know, I have real estate, and a lot of people ask, is it a good idea to have real estate? Yes or no in times of inflation? And we do have inflation. The normal inflation, what is at moment there, is very different. So the normal inflation, we say about 2 to 3% per year. At the moment we have 8% or nearly 9%. So the costs of a lot of foods, the cost of a lot of goods are rising a lot. And yes, as you see in this picture, is it good to have real estate or no? So let's have a look. And you asked something, Bernie, if it's not clear, because as you know, my German is not, my German is quite better than my English. So please just help me if there's something which is not clear. What does inflation mean? So just some numbers. If you have 100,000 euros, let's say, and you have an inflation of 3% over 30 years, after 30 years, you have just 44,100 euros in your pocket. So it means that you lose, a lot of money, more than 60,000 euros you lose just because there is an inflation. Or another example, you have now 20,000 in the bank account, and we have an inflation of 5% per year, just 5 years, then you have only 15,480 euros in your pocket. So what does it mean? That means that money is nothing from value if we have times of higher inflation. So the value of money is decreasing. Is decreasing. While the real values, in German you say Sachwerte. I don't know how do you say this in English, Bernie? Sachwerte. How can you translate this?
I would say it's assets.
Assets, right. The word is assets. So assets are not decreasing so much. In the opposite, assets are always increasing. Also, the value is getting higher and higher. For example, you have a donut. You paid for this donut at the moment 2 euros, or you paid 1 year ago 2 euros. Then perhaps this year, next year, you pay 2 euros 50 or 3 euros. Everybody of us knows when we were children, we buy an ice cream. It was very cheap compared to the ice cream today. That is inflation. So, and as I say, money is also energy. So money in debt, money in mortgage is the same as money in savings. But money in savings is decreasing, and money in mortgages is also decreasing. So what is better? Just to tell you this.
And we talk about value. So it's not like that you have 100 euro in your pocket and in 20 years you take out this 100 euro and suddenly it says, it's just 44 euro. No, 100 euro in your pocket remain 100 euro in your pocket, but you just the purchasing power is much less. So for 100 euro today, you can purchase, you can get into concert, and in 30 years, maybe for 100 euro, you get a chewing gum. So this is just to compare it.
Right. That's right. So who is profiting from inflation? Who has the biggest debt? Who has the biggest debt is governments. The governments have a very, very big debt, and they profit from inflation because the debt is decreasing in value. And other people, for example, investors, which are taking money from the banks, are also profiting. At the same time, their values are rising a lot of times. And who is not profiting, who's a loser of the inflation? People who saved their money. So just the savings they are getting, as you explained it, the power of the money is getting less and less. So the effects of the inflation on debt, here you can see the mortgage debt. If the mortgage debt is nearly the same or is like going a little bit lower because of the value in the money of the mortgage, and the prices are rising, it is of course a very, very high win you have between these two arrows. And home prices are always increasing. But I tell you that there are some risk, of course. But first, this one also, if the home prices, the value of the home prices and the homes are nearly the same, so the error is nearly the same. More often in times of inflation, landlords can charge a little bit more in inflation times while paying the same mortgage payment. No? So also you can see if the one is staying the same, the one error, and the other one is going lower, also you profit, you have a big profit.
Yeah.
But now I come to the risk, as I told you. At the moment, we can see that also the interest rates, the money you have to pay to get more money, to get a financial credit, you have to pay more. So you can say, Sarah, but the inflation at the moment is not good for people who want to borrow money. And then we talked about that some minutes ago. I will say, if to borrow money is a little bit higher than now, it could be also a win, because the inflation is higher than the interest rate from which you borrow money.
Mm-hmm.
No? But you have always to calculate.
Yes, I mean, and this is also changing over time. I mean, today we have, let's say, 10% or 9% in interest in inflation, and the interest rate is roughly around, it depends on where you look at it, between 2 and 4%. So we have a gap here of, let's say, 5 to 6% today. That means if you get a loan and you pay 3% interest, and on the other side the value increases by 10%, then you're making money just for having a loan, or you're making not money, but you're gaining value. You're preserving your value just by having a loan. So this is very interesting, a very interesting concept, although we don't know how long this resists. Why? Because usually in a healthy environment, the inflation and the interest rate is coming closer to each other, right?
Yes, normally, yes. And the interest rates is at the moment very, very high, because the inflation should be stopped by a higher interest rate. That is kind of politics. That is kind of how to control the market. So the interest rates rised up this year in 2022 very, very high. We have sometimes 4-5% also. Somebody I know, he has 5% now interest rates, and it is really, really hard for him to pay all this loan and all this borrowed money back. But I think it will lower after a time. We don't know when. It is always thinking into the future and hoping, but you should always calculate. And so what we also have, it's also like a risk, another risk, just to tell, it is the higher prices for the housing, for building housing, for the supplies for houses. So you have to calculate, of course. And if just as a Fazit, as an closing or conclusion,
sum it up. Yeah.
Now to sum it up, your mortgage rates have to stay the same in cost, or nearly the same, and on the same time the value of your apartment, of your flat, has also to stay the same or rise up a little bit. Then you profit from inflation. if you are a real estate investor, and you have to calculate it very good, and look for the inner values. Just don't be panic if you see prices going up, prices going down, blah, blah. Don't panic, just look for the values, because values are always the winner of every crisis. It is about values. And so rental properties tend to do well during periods of inflation, but please calculate well. That is what I can say to this topic.
Amazing. So to sum it up again, is it a good time to invest in real estate today? What do you think?
If you get a good mortgage, yes.
Yes. So even though if the prices of real estate were just going higher and higher, and everyone expects that must go down at a certain point, do you think that even if we see a top right now and the real estate market may go down a bit, if what happens afterwards? So is it going higher than now again? So if yes, that's we've seen that during the last decades that real estate always was a good investment, right?
On a long-term perspective, and I am normally always looking on a long-term perspective, the housing and the real estate market is always a very solid base, always a really good base to invest in. If you need to make money very fast, I don't know if that is good. So don't go into a market if you really need the money very, very fast back. I would say you can go into a real estate at the moment. You really can buy good houses, and you can hold them. And I think in good cities, in good locations, you can do nothing wrong with this. But yeah, as I told you, on a long-term perspective.
Okay, so that means we could invest in real estate. And another thing, what do you think about the when we talk about now and the inflation, recession, and so on? What do you think about leverage? So how much money should you try to hold back in terms of getting a mortgage? So should you always need a certain amount of money in cash, and the rest is the mortgage? Like you need 10%, and then 90% of the, for example, you need 100,000 euro to finance a real estate. 10% come from your own, so you are leveraged with 1 to 9, and 90% comes from the bank. They're giving you the loan. What do you think is the ideal percentage right now? So is it 10%, 20, 30? Is there a number that you can tell us?
It depends. It depends on you, on your risk, and it depends also on your asset. So if you have an asset what is not so first cheap, not so cheap, or second not so safe also for the bank, you have to pay more from your own money, of course, because you have to give more security. If it's really, really cheap and the bank will say, wow, you bought it so cheap, we see the value quite higher, what you need from us, then you can also leverage a little bit more. So it depends a lot of your prices, which you can have by from the buying. It depends a lot from this.
Okay, but can we say that we should try to leverage as high as possible on the one hand, but on the other hand, to keep them? So basically, we have 100,000 euro available sitting here, but we try to get as much leverage as possible. If we need to pay more into the loan, we have it. Or should we just say we should balance it out? So really try to not over leverage it and those kind of things.
Yeah, it
even
depends.
Though if we have the money.
It depends a lot of your character. I have in my investment group, I have people on the first type, what you described, they are leveraged a lot, but they can handle it. They love a little bit stress, they love to deal a little bit with numbers, and it is okay to have a high debt and to deal with this. The majority of the people don't like it so fast and furious. They like it a little bit more like balanced. And also, let's say the ladies, the women, I know they are not as highly interested in getting out as much money as you can, but they want to sleep well. They don't want to over leverage. And I think on the long term, it is like running. Yeah, of course you can get to your goal running very, very fast and putting out a lot of energy. You are very fast on your goal, but then you don't have any more energy. You can also go a little bit safer and a little bit step by step. Okay, it takes a little bit longer, but perhaps you have more energy left. So this is a kind of type, more with your character than where I can say this is right or this is wrong. Perhaps I'm in the middle of the first one and the second one. So, and it depends on the deal. Sometimes I like to have a little bit fun, no risk, no fun. And sometimes I say, okay, this is too big for falling. I don't want to fall. This is too big. I go a little bit safer and
Okay. And this is what you're doing, right? So if you want to find out which type you are, and by the way, we also have covered the topic of leverage in one of our talks with Sarah. So go on our YouTube channel, the playlist Real Estate with Sarah Lindner. There you will find also a video dedicated to leverage. And if you want to find out which type of investor you are you more on the risky side, on the leverage side, or more on the relaxed side, long-term perspective? You like to enjoy your wine and sitting in the sun while your money is working for you. So if you want to find out which type you are, then just drop us a comment, approach us, write us an email to clientcare@kaching.net, and write us you want to work with Sarah, or you want to more information about Sarah's programs. So Sarah, you're supporting people in learning that, right, in your program?
Yes. Yeah, I'm supporting people in learning this because sometimes you need a step-for-step plan. People come with questions like this question, is this good, what should I do? And then I say, okay, it depends on you. It is an individual way, no? And you cannot say this is right, this is wrong, because sometimes you don't feel good. You want to do other things, and it is good to make your own plan. And I help people to make their own plan, to follow their own character and invest with a good feeling. Yes.
Amazing. Cool. That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining, Sarah, again. It was an amazing and insightful talk about inflation and mortgage and real estate stuff. The last words are on you before we do our Kaching move. So,
get informed, come to our program, join us. We do have different possibilities. That was a word. We have different possibilities, and I like to get in contact with you. Thank you.
And I think you have a free Telegram group as well, right?
Yeah, it is a community. It is in German at the moment, so if you're inside this in German, but I think you can switch in English. And I have a community, and it's the easiest way to join us just for free, and then you're in, and then from there you can go wherever you want.
Amazing. So see you next time in our next video. Until then, I wish you happy profits and happy investing. Ka-ching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Please be aware, we are no financial advisors. We do not provide any advice. We only share our experience, and our results are not typical. If we mention any stocks, funds and other type of investments, it is for educational and illustrational purposes only. Most people are unable to achieve similar results to ours. If you want to achieve similar results, you have to commit yourself to systemize, to learn and to stick to the rules.